Let me ask you something. Do you really think you'll become a millionaire saving money in your bank account, earning 1% while inflation eats you alive at 12%? Come on, that's not wealth building. That's financial suicide with a smile. If you want to get rich in 2025, forget everything they taught you in school. Because the truth is brutal. The middle class saves money, the rich invest money. This year could be your turning point, but only if you understand this. Money is no longer earned. It's multiplied. While most people waste hours scrolling, complaining about prices, and hoping for a raise, the rich are stacking assets that work 24/7. They don't trade time for money. They build machines that print money while they sleep. Now, you're probably thinking, but I don't have money to invest. That's not the problem. The real problem is you've been programmed to think like a consumer, not like an investor. School taught you how to fill out a resume, not a balance sheet. And while you're stuck saving pennies, the elite are using debt, leverage, and passive income to build wealth faster than ever. So today, I'm going to give you 4 things to invest in right now if you want to start walking the path to millionaire status by the end of 2025. And no, this is not financial advice for your grandma. This is war strategy for financial freedom. Ready? Let's break the system before it breaks you. And if you're not, just keep saving that paycheck and praying your 401k doesn't implode next month. Let's get into it. Let's get something straight. That beautiful house you're living in, the one with the designer tiles, the 3-car garage, and the overpriced furniture, it's not making you rich, it's making you broke slowly. Because while you're paying property taxes, maintenance, interest, and utilities, you're calling it an asset. But in the real world, the world the wealthy live in, an asset is something that pays you, monthly, passively, predictably. Your house? That's a liability dressed up in financial drag. If you want to play the game like the rich, you've got to stop flexing and start cash flowing. Real assets don't look pretty on Instagram. They look great on a balance sheet. I'm talking about real estate that generates income every month. Rental properties, apartment complexes, farmland, even small commercial buildings. These aren't luxury trophies. They're cash machines. They don't care what mood the stock market is in. They pay you when you sleep. When I bought thousands of rental units, I didn't pay for them myself. The bank did. And the tenants? They paid the bank for me. That's called leverage. That's called good debt. And here's the twist. They don't teach you this in school because the system needs you financially obedient, not financially free. They want you saving your money, living paycheck to paycheck, and praying your 401k doesn't vanish in the next crash. But me? I use the system. I borrow millions, I collect rent, I pay no taxes, and I reinvest again. Why? Because assets work harder than any employee ever will. Every time I hear someone say, "I just bought a house, I'm building equity," I shake my head. If your so-called asset doesn't deposit money into your account every single month, it's not an asset, it's a toy. It might look good, feel safe, or impress your in-laws, but it won't make you rich. You want real wealth? Buy something that pays you. That's the rule. That's the mindset shift. The middle class buys liabilities and calls them assets. The rich buy income. In 2025, while everyone's worried about inflation, market volatility, and layoffs, I'm getting checks from buildings I bought 10 years ago. That's the difference. That's the freedom. You can either work for money for the next 40 years, or you can spend the next 24 months buying real assets and start making money work for you. Because in this game, cash flow is king. And if it doesn't pay you monthly, it's not an asset. It's just expensive clutter. If you're still trading hours for dollars, you're playing the slowest, most painful game there is. That's the game they taught you in school. Work hard, get a good job, climb the ladder, hope for a raise, and retire someday. But let me tell you something, that ladder is leaning against the wrong wall. While you're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week just to cover bills, someone else is building a business that prints cash while they sleep. And no, you don't need to invent the next iPhone or open a Fortune 500 company. You just need to start. In today's world, it has never been easier to launch a business. A simple digital product, a niche online store, a YouTube channel, an ebook, a course, affiliate marketing, a done-for-you service. These aren't side hustles, they're stepping stones to freedom. Because here's the truth. If your income stops the moment you stop working, you don't own a life. You own a time card. And time is the most limited, most valuable resource you have. Waste it, and you're done. Use it to build something that pays you without showing up, and you're free. But maybe you're saying, I don't know where to start. Good. That means you're honest. So here's the move. Find someone who does. Partner up. Invest in a business you believe in. Learn from people who are already winning. Stop listening to broke friends with big opinions and start connecting with people who know how to turn ideas into income. Because money doesn't follow effort. It follows strategy. Your job? It's your foundation. It keeps the lights on. That's fine. But your business, that's your trampoline. That's what takes you from surviving to scaling. While your coworkers argue about office politics and promotions, you should be building systems. Systems that sell for you, serve for you, scale for you. That's how the game changes. The school system taught you how to get a job. I'm telling you to build a machine. One that doesn't care if you're awake or asleep, sick or on vacation, distracted or laser-focused. It keeps going. That's what separates the middle class from the millionaire class. The poor work for money. The middle class work harder for a little more money. But the rich, they build systems that print money. So here's the cold, hard truth. Your job is designed to keep you comfortable enough not to rebel and busy enough not to grow. But a business? That's the key that unlocks the next level. Start one, buy into one, build one, because in this new economy, the person who owns the system wins. Everyone else just clocks in. Nobody wants to tell you the truth, especially not the talking heads on CNBC. They'll distract you with charts, buzzwords, and Wall Street optimism, but they won't say the one thing that changes everything. Fiat currency is fake. Since 1971, when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard, the U.S. dollar became nothing more than printed belief, backed by nothing but debt and hope. And if your wealth is sitting in savings or mutual funds, congratulations. You're holding monopoly money and betting your future on a system that's already bankrupt. That's why I don't save dollars. I don't trust paper. I buy real, physical assets. Gold, silver, oil. I'm not talking about stocks or ETFs or whatever shiny app your bank offers. I'm talking about real metal, real land, real wells. I don't watch the price of gold to decide when to buy. I watch the actions of the Federal Reserve, the debt clock, the repo markets. Because when they print more money, it doesn't increase your wealth. It steals it. Inflation is a silent tax that robs the middle class, and most people don't even realize it's happening until their grocery bill doubles. Gold and silver are not investments. They're insurance. They're protection against the collapse of paper. When markets crash, gold stands tall. When governments lie, silver tells the truth. And oil? Oil is the lifeblood of civilization. It's not just about energy, it's about leverage. While most people fill their gas tanks and complain, I get paid from wells in the ground. Because I don't buy fuel, I own the flow. That's the difference between consumers and capitalists. And let me be clear, this is not speculation, it's strategy. I buy gold because it's real. I buy silver because it's undervalued. I buy oil because it cash flows. I don't care what your broker says or what the TV tells you. If it's printed, it's losing value. If it's pumped, mined, or minted, it holds value. And while the average person hopes their 401k survives the next crash, I smile knowing my hard assets don't care about market moods or political promises. That's the rule. Hard assets beat paper promises every time. Because paper can be burned, banned, or reprinted into oblivion. But gold is gold. Silver is silver. And oil is oil. These are assets with real value, not financial fiction. So, if you want to protect your future and build wealth that doesn't vanish with the next rate hike, stop chasing paper dreams. Start holding real power. Because when the system collapses, and it will, only those with hard assets will stand tall while everyone else scrambles. You want to be rich? Then stop taking financial advice from people who are barely staying afloat. I don't care how nice their car is or how confident they sound. If they're buried in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, or waiting on their next bonus to survive, they are not qualified to guide you. And yet, most people let their broke cousin, their over-leveraged coworker, or even their financially illiterate parents shape how they think about money. That's not education. That's sabotage dressed as tradition. The truth is, the real asset isn't in your wallet, it's in your head. Your brain is your greatest investment. And if you feed it with the same garbage they fed you in school, get a job, save your money, hope for retirement, you'll end up just like everyone else, stuck in the rat race, working harder just to stay in place, because the system isn't broken. It was built to keep you busy, obedient, and financially confused. So, what do the rich do differently? They learn, relentlessly. They read the books, take the courses, and surround themselves with people who have already built what they want. They don't scroll for dopamine hits. They study cash flow statements, tax strategies, asset classes. They don't brag about saving $200 on a TV. They learn how to create assets that make $2,000 a month in passive income. They speak a different language. While most people are fluent in salary and expenses, the rich speak leverage, debt, equity, and ROI. If you don't understand money, you will spend your entire life working for someone who does. You'll trade your time for a fixed paycheck and feel lucky just to keep your job. But the second you start understanding the game, how taxes really work, how to use debt as a tool, how to analyze opportunity, you shift from being a pawn to becoming a player. And when you're a player, you stop being afraid. You stop playing defense with your finances and start building a real offense. That's where wealth begins, not with a bigger paycheck, but with a sharper mindset. Let me be clear. Financial ignorance is the most expensive debt you'll ever carry. It costs you opportunities. It costs you years. It costs you freedom. And unlike a credit card balance, there's no easy way out unless you decide to invest in yourself. So, yes, buy the books. Pay for the mentorship. Take the class. Not because it's a trend, but because your future depends on it. You weren't born poor, you were taught how to stay poor. Break the cycle. Rewire your thinking. Your bank account is a reflection of your mindset. Upgrade one, and the other will follow. That's not motivational fluff. That's the formula. So, now you know. Real assets, real businesses, real commodities, and real education. That's the formula. That's the game the rich have been playing while the rest of the world plays it safe, saves what's left, and hopes for a miracle. But hope is not a strategy. Saving is not wealth. And playing it safe, that's the fastest way to stay broke. This isn't just about making money. It's about breaking the chains, stepping off the hamster wheel they trained you to run on since you were a kid. Work, pay bills, die. That's not a life. That's a financial sentence. But now you have the key. The question is, will you use it? You can go back to scrolling, waiting for Friday, living for vacations you can barely afford. Or you can make the decision right now to flip the script. Start investing in the right things. Start thinking like an owner, not a worker. Start building a life where money works harder than you do. Because here's the truth they don't want you to know. Freedom isn't for the lucky. It's for the financially educated, the disciplined, the bold. So what's it going to be? Another year of surviving? Or the year you finally start building? The choice is yours. But remember, wealth isn't given. It's built. And it starts with a decision. Make it count.